and welcome to Dancepreneur TV. Today I have the pleasure of being with Farouk here from DanceCast. Now if you haven't heard of DanceCast, I really invite you to check it out, but before you do, let's hear from Farouk and see what he's got to say about DanceCast. What is DanceCast? Hello and welcome, Farouk.
Hello.
Hello, thank you so much for doing this interview today.
My pleasure.
Now tell me more about DanceCast, like what exactly is it?
Essentially it's a job website for performing artists, mainly for dancers, but as we all know, dancers sing, they act, they model, so we get all kind of areas of work posted on the site.
So it's not just dance?
No,
okay.
there's all kinds of jobs. We get sort of promotional work, quite a lot of modelling work, a fair bit of singing work, but obviously the majority is dance-based work, covering everything, so anything from commercials, music videos, podium dancing, teaching work, musical theatre, the whole range of work.
Okay, great. So Farouk, tell us a little bit about yourself, like your background, what had you create DanceCast?
I had a bit of a weird journey through dance. I only started dancing when I was about 19 or 20 with one of your other dancepreneurs, Hakeem. He was my first dance teacher at Dancemode.
Okay.
And I was at uni at the time studying engineering, and I decided to take a class for fun with one of my mates. And I really liked it because Hakeem's such a great teacher, and I just did it for fun while I was at uni. And then towards my end of my uni career, I started to meet kind of like-minded people, so other people who enjoyed, you know, street dance and commercial dance at uni. Then I started to take classes at Pineapple, and I met the guys at Culture Shock, and it just kind of developed from you know, something very casual into, you know, a passion and a strong hobby of mine.
Is it mainly hip-hop you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I graduated uni and I decided not to be an engineer and just take some time out from academia, and I found a dance course in New York at Broadway Dance Center.
Oh, cool.
And I enrolled there for 6 months just to kind of, you know, live in New York and dance more and, you know, train with the kind of choreographers that I wanted to train with. And I ended up living there for 2 years.
Wow.
So I assisted a choreographer out there, I gained loads of experience, and came back and just decided to do it professionally. So that was back in 2007.
So tell us about, obviously I had no idea that you spent 2 years in New York. Yeah. Okay, assisting a choreographer over there. Yeah. I mean, what was it like? Like, how different is the dance scene in New York compared to London?
It's quite different actually. It's a lot more established out there. The classes are great, you know, the choreographers are great, just as they are here. I think there's a certain different level of teaching that comes from there being more of a history of dance out there than there is over here at the moment. So the teachers are amazing, they really bring out the best in you. And also the work scene out there, you know, New York and LA, it's huge. You know, it's a huge entertainment industry out there. So the commercial work and even Broadway, it's massive out there. So, but I decided to come back here, you know, because London's got a really amazing scene as well, and my family's here. So I came back in 2007 with all that experience and that knowledge.
All that knowledge now. So
and that's actually kind of how DanceCast started. To be honest, I saw how the industry works out there in terms of the working commercial dance scene, and how well the dancers are protected out there with their unions and the pay for dancers out there. So, and I came back here and I saw quite a lot of problems with the industry. So I created a forum on Facebook, a group, and it was originally called Professional Commercial Dancers in London. I don't know if you remember that, but it was just originally to discuss issues, so to talk about, you know, agents or, you know, unpaid work, that kind of thing. So but it kind of turned into something else over time, so very organically. You know, it grew to about sort of 600-700 people quite quickly. Wow. And an employer sent me a job. They were like, oh, can you send out this job, you've got a network of dancers here. So I started to get jobs in, and then, you know, kind of as the jobs came in, more performers signed up to the group. So the group was just growing and growing and growing. And the more people knew about it, the more employers then started to send me jobs. So it kind of was an upward spiral.
So did you intentionally
No,
it just happened.
It was very organic.
It was attracted to you. So it's almost like because you built up this community in your Facebook group. And how did you even build this community up anyway in the first place? I'm sure there's many out there who maybe want to start something and know that maybe they need, you know, a community first.
Well, I mean, obviously Facebook is a community in itself, and you know, dancers are friends with each other, and it's so easy to kind of, you know, spread the word out these days with you know, with social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter. I mean, back then it was quite different. I think Facebook was very new at that point.
And there probably wasn't as many dance groups to join at that time.
No, there weren't. Yeah, so it was quite a new thing, and I think that's why, you know,
good timing.
Good timing. I mean, things like this are a combination of luck and timing. So but the main thing that I did with the group was I actually had a case where an employer sent me a music video and it was unpaid, and I refused to post it. So the group became not only about jobs, but supporting dancers' pay and working conditions, and that's something that I campaigned for quite strongly because that's something I believe in. So I didn't post any unpaid, expenses only or below national minimum wage work, and that became a thing with the group. So it was a trusted, you know, people knew that they could trust the group because it was only posting paid work. I would vet all the jobs that went out. So if any, you know, there's a lot of dishonest people out there, unfortunately, especially in the, you know, the dance industry, in the entertainment world. And there are companies out there that look to take advantage of dancers. So whether that's through unpaid work or it's through, you know, even trying to scam them out of money, or, you know, put girls in vulnerable positions and that kind of thing. So I've seen it all, unfortunately, but I would vet all the jobs that would go out, so I'd make sure the employers were bona fide, that the jobs were legitimate. So as a result of people's trust in the group and the fact that it was, you know, the jobs were rolling out daily, you know, it grew and grew and grew, and it grew over the space of about 4 years. So I think I started it in beginning of 2007 when I came back from New York. And all the way through, I ran them for free up until 2011. And it was at that point, it was probably around 2010 where the group had I'd say about 8,000 to 9,000 members. And I was posting anything sort of between 70 and 80 jobs a month. So
you was literally, Farouk, running a business from a Facebook group?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, pretty much. And it became a full-time job for me, and, you know, at the same time I was still trying to work as a dancer and a choreographer, and I was teaching, so it was a lot of work, and that's why I saw an opportunity to then, you know, turn this Facebook group into a business, and it needed to move off Facebook, because at that point Facebook was actually changing a lot, and we all know Facebook changes sort of every other month, but there was a big change with the group format, so they were, you know, taking away, they kind of stopped the group and they reinstated it and they changed it to the new group format, so it became very difficult to maintain the format, so I knew I had to take it from there to a website.
Yes.
And because of the shift over to the website, it meant that, you know, because of, you know, revenue coming in, that I could do more marketing for it, and it actually went from sort of about 70 to 80 jobs a month to now posting over 200 jobs a month. Wow,
that's amazing.
So it couldn't have done that without the changeover. So yeah, that's kind of that's the journey that's taken at the moment.
So what other skills do you think you've had to acquire over the time, like for you to transition
everything.
From, you know, this Facebook group to all of a sudden now having a full-time business? I'm sure you've had to acquire like some kind of even time management. I mean, how did you manage to, you know, cope with all of these jobs coming to you? And
you just don't sleep. So yeah, you when you start a business, I think with any business, I mean, there's certain things that you have to learn very quickly, and you know, even just knowing where to go to incorporate your company, what kind of, you know, whether you're being a sole trader or you're having a limited company, that kind of thing. And then there's all the marketing stuff that you need to learn. So,
exactly, yeah.
you know, it's not just emails these days, it's social media, and social media has its own, you know, Facebook has one way of using it, Twitter has another way, LinkedIn, there's so many. Accounts, financial stuff, so how to keep your records up to date and all of that. There's a whole heap of stuff, and I had lots of people help me, you know, touch wood, family members, friends.
Great.
I read a lot of books.
Yeah.
I watched Dragon's Den a lot.
Yeah. What books would you recommend?
I actually, you know, I think it depends on your personal preference. I got, you know, Business Plans for Dummies, you know, their whole for Dummies selection. I read autobiographies. I read. I really like. I mean, I learned a lot from Dragon's Den about how not to conduct my business.
Right.
So the mistakes people made on there and on the show, you know, you learn a lot about. Okay, well they did this and it didn't quite work, and you know, so and then I read a lot of the autobiographies of the dragons. So, you know, especially people who've kind of started from nothing. You know, some like Duncan Bannatyne and Theopophatus. They all kind of self-made men kind of thing.
Yeah. Would you say that they were like your inspirations then?
Yeah, and you know, amongst other sort of people I knew, you know, there's, you know, you kind of are, to be successful, you have to almost surround yourself with other successful people, because you need to put yourself in that sort of mindset. So yeah, a lot of people were my inspiration in that sense. But yeah, you just have to do a lot of work towards it. I'm afraid, like there's no easy fix to starting up a business. It is hard graft. It is, you know, a combination of being in the right place at the right time.
So what do you think's kept you going? I mean, I would personally, from as an outsider looking in, I would say what's kept you going then for you, because a lot of people give up when they start a business, was that your mission in the very, very, very early days in the beginning was that you believed dancers should rightly get paid for what they do. Yeah. And I guess that's been your drive as to... Yeah.
I mean,
is that true?
I'm passionate about sort of helping dancers in many ways. I mean, the industry as a whole has seen a decline in the rates, so dancers getting paid less than what they say did 5-6 years ago, even though inflation's gone up. So it's tough enough being a dancer as it is in terms of, you know, the conditions that you have to work in. You know, you're constantly chasing money. There's a whole heap of things that come with being a performing artist and being self-employed. So if then the money that you're earning is going down, or, you know, big productions are asking you to do stuff for free, you know, I think that's a major problem. So through my business, I, you know, try and, if anything, slow that down and hopefully turn it around. Yeah. And you know, it has seen a degree of success. You know, there are other, you know, obviously there's equity and stuff who work towards that. So yeah, there's a lot of positive things going on. It just requires people to work together, and it's information at the end of the day. People need to know, you know, their rights and what they should and shouldn't do. So you know, that you can say no to unpaid work. That it is, that, you know, it is illegal in most cases to you know, to be asked to work for free.
Why do you think some dancers do actually work for free?
I mean, it's work at the end of the day. It's something that they can put on their CV. But you have to value yourself. You have to know your worth. So
there's got to come a time where it's like, okay, I've done enough work experience now.
Yeah, I mean, you a lot of dancers, you know, whether they just take class at Pineapple or Studio 68, or they're in dance college. You know, if you're at dance college, you're spending a hell of a lot of money on getting your training and your education, to then go out into the working world and do a whole bunch of free jobs, and with the odd paid job every now and again. You know, you are building up your CV, but you're also really damaging the industry, because if you're saying, you know, if a major music video and they're getting every dancer for free, they're going to continue to do that. And then when there is a budget to pay for dancers, they're only going to pay them the bare minimum. So it's better to say,
So really good
to
point.
say no and think of the long term, because there will be paid work that will come up, and there will be a chance to boost your CV and you know and credits and stuff. And the one thing to remember as well at the end of the day is that a CV only goes so far. You know, it's not like you're applying to be an accountant or a lawyer where they really look into your CV and look at your work experience. At the end of the day, somebody wants to see you dance, so they'll invite you to an audition, and a lot of the time your job credits are meaningless. So you could have someone who's danced for everyone under the sun versus a fresh graduate, and the dancer for Rihanna messes up the audition, whereas the graduate does a good job and gets booked. You know, their past credits are meaningless in that sense. They've just nailed the audition. So you know, it's great to think about, you know, building up your CV, but that only goes so far. So you know, that's something for dancers to think about.
What about like you know, there must come a time in a dancer's life where they do all of these performing jobs, and then what do you think they should do then? Like, you know, maybe like, what advice would you give to them to develop themselves?
I mean, I got to a stage where, you know, I decided to move on from performing.
What had you get to that stage, or what was it?
For me, it was I guess the catalyst was my business, and I saw this opportunity. I mean, I could have stuck with it a few more years. Unfortunately, the shelf life of dance is probably the shortest out of any, you know, performing artists. You know, actors can go on until they're 100.
Yeah.
You know, similarly with singers, but you know, it's just one of those things. You will know when the time has come. I think you know within yourself. It's a very personal thing. I don't think there's any age that you can say, you know, that it's time to move on. And while I know a lot of dancers these days, and they are doing really good things. So they're you know, training to be a photographer, or they're doing, you know, massage therapy or physiotherapy courses, or you know, so any sort of services relating to being a dancer. People are actually, you know, learning those along the way, so that they have something that they can make money with while they haven't got dance work, or it's something that they can turn into a business afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of dancers these days who are getting in, you know, being videographers. So, you know, they're recording other dancers, making concept videos, or recording class, and or editing show reels, that kind of thing. So there are a lot of things that you can kind of do and train in while you're still performing.
Yes.
And what you want to do with it afterwards. You know, I would say to anyone, you know, because there's a lot of options sort of after performing. You can start up your own school, you can become an agent, you know, you can start a production company, you can go into choreography. But what I would say is do those businesses in the same manner as you would have conducted yourself as a dancer. So stick with the same. If you go into a business where you're hiring dancers, whether you're an agent, you're a production company, or a choreographer, and you wouldn't have worked for free as a dancer, don't then ask dancers to work for free. Maintain those ethics and morals and pass them on to the next generation. And also, don't look for a quick fix, because it won't last, unfortunately. You know, with DanceCast, I did it slowly, and I kind of, you know, I tried to do it right. Like, I didn't rush into things.
But
I
it
took my
took
time.
4 years to build up before you even transitioned to having a website, right?
Yeah.
So
And now the website's been running for 2 years.
Amazing,
and you know, there's plenty of times where things went wrong. You know,
but that's all part of the journey, and you learn.
It is, and you have to learn from those mistakes, and you have to be, you know, you have to be agile. You have to work quickly in order to fix them.
So, what were the main challenges, would you say, that you've really experienced? The biggest challenges.
Firstly, running an online business, because I've never done that before. You know, learning all that kind of stuff. Also.
So when you say an online business, obviously, so therefore most of your marketing is online.
Online, yeah.
Right. So do you do any offline marketing, or is it just all online?
A small degree. You know, I've run a few events. Previously, I had a stand at Move It the last 2 years, and you know, so flyers and that kind of thing. But yeah, because it's an online business, it's the main sort of proportion of my budget.
That's pretty much where everyone is in a way.
Yeah.
It's easy to find.
But you know, I think one of the things that I really faced as a challenge was, you know, when I built the site, I anticipated people to use it in a certain way, and they actually ended up using it slightly differently. So it was, you know, it's kind of moving with the tide of the way my customers want my service and how they want it to operate, because it is forever changing. You know, you get new people joining up, and they have a certain way of using it. And I've obviously got two different customers. I've got performers and I've got employers. So that's kind of two different people that you need to keep happy in a sense. So it's been a process of, there's, you know, once the site was built and launched, you know, the development of the site hasn't stopped.
Yes.
And I think that's something that you have to learn to deal with, is that once your business is there and ready to launch, that's just the first. That's just the beginning. Yeah, that's just your toe in the water.
Along the way.
The rest of the process is probably the main process of actually, you know, you have a product or a service there now, and it's then developing it, and you know, through the life cycle of the business. And that's how businesses you know, stay around for a long time, because there are a lot of businesses that you know, you'll see them there and then 3 months later they're gone, you know. It's, unfortunately, and it is tough in this economic climate. But yeah,
so, well, talking about economic climate, I mean, it's really great having an online business, because obviously you know, you don't have to pay for an office or anything like that. You know, you can work from anywhere in the world. You can just take your laptop around with you, and you're basically living the internet lifestyle. Yeah. Right. So I think that's definitely a big bonus to your business, having it online.
Yeah. You know, it's the same with sort of any online business. You know, the other businesses that need to have, you know, if you've got a you know, dancewear and you have a shop front, you've got, you know, bigger overheads, that kind of thing. So you've got, when you start your business, you've got to have a really good idea of what your costs are going to be. Yeah. You know, do your numbers till your head explodes, because the more you know and the less you guess, the better. And that's one thing that I had a lot of help with, was understanding my numbers and where my costs were going to be. You know, where I could reduce my costs in a certain way. And managing cash flow, that's like, every business has that problem. So you'll have a whole heap of costs there, but if you don't have the money coming in at a certain point, or if you know there's times in the year where, you know, if your product is seasonal, for example, you know, then you're going to have a cash flow problem at a certain point in the year. So knowing all of that kind of stuff is really, really important, because then you can prepare. And, you know, the more you're prepared, and, you know, the less you'll be surprised when things go wrong, because things always go wrong, no matter how much you don't want them to.
Yeah, but that's all part of the journey, as we've said before, definitely. You know, when things go wrong, you have to just, you know, be determined to just get through it. Don't ever give up. Like, overcome the challenge. Yeah. And just, all it is normally is knowledge, as you say. Yeah. Just finding out, ask questions, you know, who do you contact? And
don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, exactly, you know, there's so many people out there who are willing to help, and, you know, and whether that's within the dance industry or not, I find a lot of help within the industry and outside of the industry. So, you know, I go to networking events a lot. I meet other entrepreneurs. You know, everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's, you know, struggling in some way, shape, or form. And some people may know some things. You just trade knowledge. So yeah, you know, get yourself out there.
Get yourself out there, and as you were saying earlier on in the interview, it really is, you know, collaborations. Yeah, like, definitely. That's key, because you can't become successful alone. No, definitely.
No, it's really it's very hard to, you know, to go through the process of starting a business and being an entrepreneur alone. It can be quite a lonely place to be in, because you know, there is so much work, and, you know, a lot of the time people don't understand what you go through if they're not going through it or haven't been through it themselves. Yeah. So, you know, surround yourself with good people, you know, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Great. Okay, well, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Interview. Really, really awesome. Just one last thing, if people want to know more about DanceCast, where would they go?
To the website, dancecastuk.com, Facebook /DanceCastUK, and Twitter @DanceCastUK.
Cool, check it out. All right, thank you so much for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.